example, the video that we have seen with that foam, actually the foam was, yes, was enlarging in all directions. I don't know of other approaches that go in this geometric direction that we have gotten, and the result is primarily in dimension 2 we can extend it in some way to dimension 3, but in some sense this is the beginning of a line of research rather than the end, so I cannot possibly answer all the questions. Yes.
Yeah, I mean your first theorem was expansive implies auxetic.
Yes.
That's not obvious if all the distances are increasing.
Yes, it is obvious once you have the proper definition for auxetic. Yes, so remember that auxetic is this vague concept that comes primarily from measuring properties. Yes, so it's not a priori clear that auxetic may not need some physical properties being taken into account and so on. So it is auxetic in the sense of our definition. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
And of course, in 3 dimension, it becomes a little bit difficult. I mean, this sort of it becomes a little bit difficult as you point out. I mean, you need to have. Is it essential that you define an auxetic path? Already?
Yes. Yes. Exactly.
Then, the expanding characteristic is really something quite interesting. I mean, how many of those distances have to increase?
Well, I can definitely, you can always imagine these 2D things extended in 3D, orthogonal, right? And then in 3D nothing will happen, but in 2D it will expand, yes? And that's always a possibility.
The point is that there's, in metallurgy, they have what they call a martensitic transformation. And there is what they call a Bain cell and a Bain path, which is in fact precisely that sort of stuff, a 1 degree of freedom path, which gives you exactly those sort of property. But of course the relation with auxetic has not been made, although
yeah, actually I don't know, because in particular even the re-entrant material, that the foam that I have shown you, has 2 degrees of freedom. So it's not guaranteed that any path, any deformation path you have will be this auxetic one. Okay, I think you can come and arrange your laptop while I'm taking.
Is there any way you can do something about disordered auxetic materials?
Yes. So if your frameworks are finite, then we can do something. Yes, because the point here, we wanted to do something for crystalline matter. That's what we have seen in the literature, and that sounded interesting. If your framework,
there's more in the literature.
I'm pretty sure. So we are not material science. We just scratched the surface. So we found a lot of references, but not as many as somebody being in the field, of course, knows. So if you have a disordered material, I'm pretty sure we could design such an object just based on pseudo triangulations, which could be as disordered as you want, but it has to be finite. If you talk about infinite ones, then we are getting into what is a motion for an infinite framework, a deformation, and that we are getting into questions that mathematically are harder to address.
There is an attempt at the formulation of auxetic strains, where it's just a structure, so we need to talk about it.
Okay.
After you return to me my adapter.
Yes, I will. How? Yes. A very strong incentive. No,
the little thing that you had running at the bottom of your last slide that was up there.
Excuse me. Yes.
Did not look like it was a pointed pseudo triangulation.
Yes, very good.
But it did look like it was expansive. So what's going on?
Okay, it was auxetic, but it was not. Not all the distances were increasing.
No.
I put it there on purpose, just to remind everybody that there are auxetic ones that are not necessarily expensive.
I was looking, and it was looking
yes, exactly.
expansive
Very
to me,
good.
but
Very good observation. Okay. Perfect. Thank you very much.